There is a crack in everything, that's how the light gets in. Act the way you'd like to be and soon you'll be the way you act. Poetry is just the evidence of life. If your life is burning well, poetry is just the ash. This world is full of conflicts and full of things that cannot be reconciled. But there are moments when we can reconcile and embrace the whole mess, and that's what I mean by hallelujah. I don't consider myself a pessimist. I think of a pessimist as someone who is waiting for it to rain, and I feel soaked to the skin. If I knew where the good songs came from, I'd go there more often. At a certain point, if you still have your marbles and are not faced with serious financial challenges, you have a chance to put your house in order. It's a cliche, but it's underestimated as an analgesic on all levels. Putting your house in order, if you can do it, is one of the most comforting activities, and the benefits of it are incalculable. The older I get, the surer I am that I'm not running the show. I never had huge amounts of money when I was young. I had huge amounts of fame, and I always had the sense of labor and recompense. I always said I don't want to work for pay, but I want to get paid for my song. When things get really bad, just raise your glass and stamp your feet and do a little jig. That's about all you can do. Success is survival. Music is the emotional life of most people. The last refuge of the insomniac is a sense of superiority to the sleeping world. I think that Bob Dylan knows this more than all of us. You don't write the songs anyhow. So if you're lucky, you can keep the vehicle healthy and responsive over the years. If you're lucky, your own intentions have very little to do with this. Let judges secretly despair of justice, their verdicts will be more acute. Let generals secretly despair of triumph, killing will be defame. Let priests secretly despair of faith, their compassion will be true. Children show scars like medals. Lovers use them as secrets to reveal. A scar is what happens when the word is made flesh. My mind was always very cluttered, so I took great pains to simplify my environment, because if my environment were half as cluttered as my mind, I wouldn't be able to make it from room to room. We're always experiencing joy or sadness, but there are lots of people who've closed down, and there are times in one's life when one has to close down just to regroup. When you stop thinking about yourself all the time, a certain sense of repose overtakes you. As we make our way toward the finish line that some of us have already crossed, I never thought I'd get a Grammy Award. In fact, I was always touched by the modesty of their interest. My two great heroes are W.B. Yeats and Federico Garcia Lorca. My reputation as a ladies' man was a joke. It caused me to laugh bitterly through the 10,000 nights I spent alone. In dreams the truth is learned that all good works are done in the absence of a caress. I like life on the road. It's a lot easier than civilian life. You kind of feel like you're in a motorcycle gang. Women stand for the objective world for a man. They stand for the thing that you're not, and that's what you always reach for in a song. This is the most challenging activity that humans get into, which is love. You know, where we have the sense that we can't live without love. That life has very little meaning without love. A woman watches her body uneasily, as though it were an unreliable ally in the battle for love. I always considered myself a minor writer. My province is small, and I try to explore it very, very thoroughly. The basic function of popular music is to create an environment for courting, lovemaking, and doing the dishes. It's useful because it addresses the heart in the midst of all these activities, and it will always be useful in this very important way. All of my writing has guitars behind it, even the novels. I speak of a clinical depression that is the background of your entire life, a background of anguish and anxiety, a sense that nothing goes well, that pleasure is unavailable and all your strategies collapse. I don't have any sense or urgency about any of my writing, actually. I don't think mankind will be damaged if I don't put out a new album or a new book. Prayer is translation. A man translates himself into a child asking for all there is in a language he has barely mastered. We used to play music for fun, much more than now. Now nobody picks up a guitar unless they're paid for it. You can keep the body as well-oiled and receptive as possible, but whether you're actually going to be able to go for the long haul is really not your own choice. There were times that I thought I was good-looking. Torah values are the ones that inform my life. I don't really understand that process called reincarnation, but if there is such a thing, I'd like to come back as my daughter's dog. As a young man, Yeats spoke to me in a way I could understand. Shakespeare I couldn't understand, but Yeats I could. It was his subject matter, and also I really admired the way he put his personal life on the line. Most of the time one is discouraged by the work, but now and again by some grace something stands out and invites you to work on it, to elaborate it or animate it in some way. It's a mysterious process. Any startling piece of work has a subversive element in it, a delicious element often. Subversion is only disagreeable when it manifests in political or social activity. I was 15 when I first became deeply touched by the rhythm and structure of words. The term clinical depression finds its way into too many conversations these days. One has a sense that a catastrophe has occurred in the psychic landscape. I read with some amusement my reputation as a ladies' man. My friends are amused by that, too, because they know my life. I am an old scholar, better looking now than when I was young. That's what sitting on your ass does to your face. I think the term poet is a very exalted term and should be applied to a man at the end of his work. When he looks back over the body of his work and he's written poetry, then let the verdict be that he's a poet. I always thought that poetry is the verdict that others give to a certain kind of writing. So to call yourself a poet is a kind of dangerous description. It's for others to use. As I approach the end of my life, I have even less and less interest in examining what have got to be very superficial evaluations or opinions about the significance of one's life or one's work. I was never given to it when I was healthy, and I am less given to it now. There are writers who are great visionaries, who can depict huge movements, things like that. They're the great writers. I'm just the other kind. I continually blacken pages and scribble away, so I always have a number of songs that are half finished. Visit our website for more quotes, quoting.com.